Welcome to Behind the Crown Podcast with your hosts, Bryan Hutson and Josh Griffin. Sit back and enjoy these great stories and memories of the Kingsmen Quartet.
Welcome to episode 12, Behind the Crown Podcast with your hosts, Josh Griffin and Bryan Hutson. How you doing, Bryan? You doing well,
Josh,
sir?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, doing well, sir.
You're
Yes,
looking
sir.
good. I like that shirt. That's kind of a
Thank you.
full-time shirt you got on there.
It's what they call them golf polos, and
Oh yeah,
I've got 2 sets of golf clubs, but haven't went the first time yet, so I don't know what you call that, but I'm faking the part. Yeah.
Well, you've got the golf shirt on, and I've got the golf drink on. I've got some Arnold Palmer right here. I love.
Yeah.
I might even get a little sponsorship from Arnold Palmer. I'm not sure, but you
Yes.
take a good look on there. See that seahorse there?
Yes.
That's the logo. Yvonne and I, we do a ministry. You know, we travel across the country doing music ministry, and we have adopted the seahorse as our logo. Seahorses will take when they're in the ocean, they'll wrap their tails together, and they'll stay together forever. And so we've adopted the seahorse as our logo. So any kind of a seahorse, you know, piece of ceramic or a piece of, you know, whatnot. I call them whatnot. You know. I get seahorse. Anyway, I ran down a rabbit hole right there, Josh. I love the Arnold Palmer drink, the lemonade and the sweet tea. So I got me a drink. I'm doing well, and I that's my golf connection. You got a golf shirt on, but our guest this week, Josh, I'd be willing to say he's probably one of the best golfers I know. Not only as a great drummer, but one of the best golfers I know. But before we introduce him, you know what time it is. It's time for the useless information segment on the podcast. You know, this podcast is dedicated to the men and the music and the message of the Kingsmen. Okay. In case people are just joining us, this is Behind the Crown Podcast, and man, we're having a great time. We've had so many positive comments from former Kingsmen who've reached out to me, and man, we're loving the podcast, fans of the group, and people just messaging through Facebook and through on YouTube, a lot of comments, and people are just enjoying it thoroughly. We decided about a year ago, Josh, we wanted to dedicate a podcast to the Kingsmen, and so, but anyway, there we go. I went down another rabbit hole, Josh.
It sounded good. Keep going. Yeah.
For our useless information, we have a segment of the podcast each and every episode about a useless piece of information that we feel like the world needs to hear, you know, because most people, most men, including myself, have lots of useless information. So, Josh, do you have a piece of useless information that we need to know tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
And this I guess I'm kind of take after this kind of information here, but panda bears spend the majority of their waking hours eating. They have been known to eat for 12 hours straight, and I can eat, so I feel kindred spirit there.
I can relate to that. But I wonder what they probably eat a lot of leaves and those type of things, you know.
I don't do that. Yeah,
I do eat some salad, but for me, pizza. And you give me some wavy potato chips, Josh, and I can go to town on some wavy potato chips.
Hey, you've seen me eat on a cruise, so you know how that is.
That's true.
You eat that escargot. But anyways,
and we might even talk about that since the gentleman joining us on tonight's podcast is the one responsible for getting me to try escargot. And our special guest tonight is the one, the only Gregory Fox. Greg, how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, gentlemen.
You looking good?
With that useless information and pandas, man, we had a lot of big people on our bus.
Wow.
12 hours, that's a lot of useless information.
That is.
We didn't have no pandas on our bus, but we had some big ones.
Yeah, you had some big ones on the bus. But my very first week with the Kingsmen, you guys, I had finished up with Heartland in 1996.
Yep.
And you all flew me from, I'm thinking Connecticut, maybe we flew out, and I flew to Orlando, and you guys picked me up. And I mean, I had clothes. I had been with Heartland for 2 weeks. I had been on a 2-week trip with them. So I had a bunch of clothes. And I mean, here we were walking through the airport, and I knew you guys from, you know, just working dates with you on occasion, but didn't know any of you really, and we go straight from the airport to the cruise. And I think maybe that night it was escargot night on the cruise. And I think you the one talked me into trying it. You got to at least try it,
Well, unlike Big Jim, who would eat sardines and them hairy fish anchovies on pizza. I won't eat them, but I love me some escargot now.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you that, sure.
Wow.
Well, it was about 6 years ago, Mr. Fox, that Josh was on the cruise with us, and it was escargot night, and I said, Josh, now you at least got to try it, and he did. It took him a while. He did try it. I said, if you don't like it, you don't have to finish it, because I finished. I think I finished the rest of his plate, but he did try it. So
yeah, and they would bring me the hot sauce to kind of smother it. So at least, but
son, hot sauce on escargot. What's wrong with you, boy?
Hot sauce on escargot. Yeah.
I figured it'd be the same like on oysters out of the shell. But anyways,
Oh, come on, man.
Well, boss man, we want to talk about your precious dad, Eldridge Fox. He was not only, people know him from his years the Kingsmen and owning the Kingsmen and being a real trendsetter, but I would like to dedicate this episode of the podcast to him and honor him tonight, and talk about not only to the Kingsmen what contributions he did to gospel music as a whole, because he could have very easily had tunnel vision. I'm gonna make the Kingsmen successful, and everybody else falls by the wayside. But what I always appreciated about Fox, your dad, was he loved this music so much. So I guess my first question is, from your knowledge, where did your dad's love for music come from? Do you know?
He started in church. When he was just a pup. He loved music, played piano. He's 4 years old. He stood up on one of the benches, one of the pastor's bench. In fact, it was one of my great uncles. He had two uncles, Lawrence and Cecil, that were preachers.
Right.
And he stood up on one of their Uncle Lawrence's beside his pulpit and sang, "I'm on the battlefield for the Lord."
Wow.
He was 4 years old, but he loved it his entire life. He was singing tons of grooves, played piano once he learned, of course, he was in the band.
Yeah.
In school. In fact, he went to Western Carolina's Teachers College, which is Western Carolina University now. And he has his degree. He had his degree in music from Western and Mars Hill, finished at Mars Hill College. And they started real young. I mean, he in singing in church. My grandma could sing really well, and they had a piano in the house. My grandpa Fox, not so much. I just thought something funny. My dad was talking about grandma, Meemaw, and he said, "Yeah, and my daddy sung bass, couldn't sing much." And Big Jim says, "Yeah, we got one of them."
Yeah.
One of the videos, I just thought about that.
Yeah.
But that he was in music his entire life. He never came through high school, Sand Hill. He actually went to Sand Hill High School, where I went to Sand Hill Elementary School and Grammar School. And when I joined the band, some of the old band uniforms were there, and I got to see his band. His 8th grade math teacher, Miss Malinowski, was my 5th grade math teacher.
Wow.
So school, he started in church. That's where his love for it started, in church and singing. Mom or Grandma Fox and Grandpa Fox, she had a coffee shop down at the end of Cox Avenue, just down from downtown Asheville. And that groups would come in, and she would stay open late. And, they'd come in, and that's how Dad got to meet everybody. He'd book them in, and, it's just, he always liked. But it started in church, at my great uncle Lawrence's church.
Yeah. Wow. Who were some of your dad's, Mr. Eldridge, musical influences? Who were some of his favorite singers, what have you, stuff like that?
Well, his favorite tenor singer, and I guess I'll just go in that direction. His favorite tenor singer was Denver Crumpler.
Wow.
He loved Denver Crumpler.
Statesman.
Yeah, the Statesman Quartet. Exactly. He loved Denver. Lead singers. He had a close friend that, maybe we can talk about later, but Jay Cass was a close friend and they were big buddies, but he loved Jack Tony. It was probably his favorite lead singer. His favorite baritone singer was Glenn Allred.
Really? Okay.
He loved Glenn Allred.
Florida boys.
Glenn, and of course, my dad was a great baritone singer.
Oh, you better believe it.
But Glenn was his favorite, and his favorite bass singer was probably J.D. Sumner, because he and J.D. were we talked last week. You asked me again tomorrow, and because he loved them all. He'd tell you the same thing. Today he might be listening to this, Denver. I would say Denver. He loved Jake singing with the Statesman, but he loved the Statesman better with Jack. And of course, he loved Glenn Allred's baritone. He just thought Glenn was the best blending baritone ever, until Squire came, of course. But and JD, him and JD were big buddies, and they, not many people. JD was amazing, and JD could sing. Everybody knows JD for
the low notes.
But let me tell you, that when he would sing some of them high tones and do that real old time bass singing kind of thing, the real close harmony, that's what Dad loved, and that he loved his part. He loved George. He loved them all. Tim Riley but as his influences, I would say those four: Denver, Jack, and of course, Glenn and JD. Loved Smitty Gatlin. He was a big, huge Smitty Gatlin. He was a fan. Again, yes, tomorrow. I've heard these names when a child. Hey, I want you to listen to this guy, or come here, I want you to listen to this guy.
But I will say those four of Denver and Jack Tony and Glenn Allred and JD. I would love to hear them.
Can you imagine?
That would have been pretty cool,
Oh my goodness, Dad used to. He would always say, "Hey, I just like to sit down on the piano bench and let them sing."
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Greg, what would you say was Eldridge's, your dad's dream for the Kingsmen overall?
His dream for the Kingsmen, I think it was his dream for everybody. He just wanted to reach as many people with our music as he could. He loved the people. That was more important to him than anything. He loved his peers and had a wonderful bunch of guys and girls and ladies and things that, Ann Downing. I just saw just the other day, Jeannie Johnson. And man, it's just, I was at a funeral, and, those people are great, but those people is what mattered to him. He wanted to, he never looked at it as what I want the Kings. He just wanted the Kingsmen to be the best they could be every time. He didn't want them to be the Statesmen. He didn't want to be the Blackwood Brothers or the Oak Ridge.
Right.
He wanted to be the Kingsmen. And then later on, when other groups would come along, I heard many times, "Hey boys, let's go do our thing." They didn't come to us sing Gold City songs. They didn't sing cathedral songs, or, we just to be the best that we could be. And that meant you may hit some dingers and you may sing it flat or sharp, or you may miss a word, but if you had the heart and if you had the team, the unit, it was always about the team. It was always about the Kingsmen. It wasn't, and it could very well have been Eldridge Fox and the Kingsmen, and it could very well have been Jim Hamill or John Perrick or Little Ernie, but it was never that. We never did an album cover that not every man was on the cover. That's just the way. The only cover that I can think of that we did was 24 Karat Gospel, and it had a gold brick on it. But
I remember that.
The back page, he sang "Hello Mama" on that record. And back page had all the guys, band members and everything. Our first bass player was a fellow by the name of Tommy Hensley from Nashville. Went on to sing with The Voice with Donnie Sumner, and they sang with Elvis. And then later on, did play bass and sung with the Gatlers for 20 something years, just retired from the Grand Ole Opry as a sound man. But it was always he just came as a bass player, but he was on the cover. You know, it's just like it was a team. It was the Kings.
Yes.
It wasn't that was him. That was his legacy for the Kings. Not to every it didn't mind. He didn't mind remembering John Perrick or Nick Bruno or Big John Broom or whoever, but he wanted to be the Kingsmen. When we left that place, they said, "Hey, we want to come back and see those guys."
Yes.
That's right.
Well, I know your dad loved the people so much that I remember when I auditioned, and I remember in the day we had to audition in your dad's office.
Yep.
And after we sang a little bit, he told me, he said, there's 3 things I'll fire you over. And he said, 1, catch you doing drugs or alcohol. The second one was messing with somebody's wife. And then he said, I'll fire you if you're mean to our people.
Yep.
And I knew it right. And I said, I can do that. I can handle that. And I knew that was his heart for the people that came every night to pay the ticket, to want to spend time with the Kingsmen. He loved those people. If it was if he was serious enough to say that, that's what he meant. And he loved those people.
He only let one person go for that reason. And they gave him 8 weeks pay. Told him he loved him. But he also told him, hey, when you come here, there's one thing that'll get you fired without question.
Yeah.
Was you ever mistreat our people, you're gone.
Yeah.
No questions asked, nothing. You mistreat our people, you're gone.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. Well, during when you and your dad were directing and driving the Kingsmen, you guys won so many awards, favorite group awards, individuals. Perrick won favorite tenor, Little Ernie won favorite tenor. I think Wayne and Parker both favorite baritone. Big Jim won lead singer and male vocalist several times. Several, albums of the year, song of the year. But your dad was inducted in the Southern Gospel Music Association Hall of Fame in '98.
Correct.
And I remember that night. I was there, and it was such an honor to have your dad recognized and honored that night. But I guess my question was, and the Kingsmen, a lot of members have been inducted, and I think they may be. I need to do the investigation on that to see if they're leading. If the Kingsmen are leading the pack on the Southern Gospel Music Association member inductions. I don't know. We might be up there.
I believe we are. Especially with Nick going in this year.
Yes.
I'm so thankful for.
Yeah.
There's some. I can go down a list of my boys and my uncles and my boys that I think need to be there, but I'm so thankful that Nick's there this year. But we may be leading. We may. Yeah,
but what I loved about that is your dad being recognized for his individual contributions to gospel music, and it's always been just a thrill for me, and I got to be there to witness that night. That was a thrill for me, getting to see your dad inducted.
Well, it was a great night. It was a great night, and what he would tell you, of course, he had already had his stroke at that time. Yeah. He was beginning to communicate a little bit.
Yeah.
But he would tell you, my boys won Video of the Year.
Yeah,
my boys won Song of the Year for Not Alone. That was Dad.
He always
never about him.
Yeah,
never about him.
Right.
And it could have been. I mean, not because he's my dad.
Yeah.
Not because he's done what he did for my life and others like yourself, whatever. But man, what a voice! I mean, if he had wanted, we did that a tribute record to him from the record company, and we took his voice from 1977.
Yeah.
And put all new music. All new vocals, everything. The only thing was on that record was Dad's voice from 1977.
Yeah.
And the hi-hat track. And we cut everything else new.
Yeah.
And his voice remained current. It remained relevant. Mm-hmm. I mean, he could have been a crooner. He could have made a ton of money. He had Lord of mercy. He loved, he was he loved Harry Connick Jr.
Wow. Okay.
He loved the crooners. He was a huge Frank Sinatra fan. I mean, he had the voice. He could have pulled that off.
Oh yeah, he could have. He could have.
That wasn't him. That wasn't.
Was that? Are you referring to Family Bible? The Family Bible
Yes,
song? Yes.
Family Bible.
Yeah.
We put all you guys in
Yeah.
the room there and recorded that. He was
That
there.
was awesome.
But even on the other song, we had Squire sing some stuff with him by himself. We had the McCamey sing stuff on there. Rabbit Easter played.
Yeah.
We brought it current, but his voice was, yeah, 20 years before that. But
that was
didn't
awesome.
sound 20 years before it.
That was awesome.
That's how strong his voice was. But he was that was a special night. He would have never guessed that. He would have never wanted that, and he later on, even before he passed, he would talk about he appreciated the Southern Gospel Musicians that award, and hope that the other boys, he's always talking about Big Jim needs to be here, and Ray and Squire. But his biggest smile came when the GMA said, in 2000, that was his voice. That meant everybody from the beginning to that point.
Yes.
And that's what he was all about. He didn't get up there and thank himself or talk about his stuff. He talked about my movies. That was Dad.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Greg, we'll ask you this. As far as your dad, the song on Georgia Live album, Behold the Master Come, was that a song? I think, if I'm not mistaken, him and Miss Sandy Knight
Correct.
co-wrote that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Talk a little bit about that song, if you don't mind, and just that night there in Augusta, Georgia at Bell Auditorium.
Well, the song itself came from my dad's trip to the Holy Land. Back in the 70s, early 80s, but my dad would invent reasons to fly. He loved to fly. I mean, hey, somebody's doing a record and he's going to produce. He didn't care if he got paid a dime. He didn't care. I'm going to fly. Okay. Well, he's flying into Atlanta one time, and he's coming in. It's a really bad storm, big electrical storm. And the pilot comes on and says, "Hey, we're going to do what they call a forced dive to get down through the clouds, and then we'll go right on in. Everything will be fine." Well, it scared him so bad that he rented a car and drove back to Asheville. And this is probably 79, because Mark Trammell was with us. So it's probably around 79. And from that point on, he would never fly. I mean, if he was doing a record in Memphis or Chicago or wherever he was going, he's driving.
Wow.
He was flying. So in 95, in the early part of 95, I guess it may have been late 94. I can't remember exactly. But Maurice Templeton had talked to Dad into going to the Holy Land. And Dad had always wanted to go to the Holy Land. And he had never gone because he's afraid to fly. I mean, Maurice had invited him tons and tons of times. He took those cruises and he did it, but he wouldn't fly. So Maurice finally got him on a plane. He went to the Holy Land, went to the tomb, and had a wonderful time there. And got to really feel about what he'd written with Gone. And then they went to the Sea of Galilee the next day. And he said, "Son, I cried the rest of the trip." He couldn't get away from the Sea of Galilee. It just something about, the kind of like the song Gone came to him on a napkin with him and Mama in Atlanta.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow.
The song came to him. He just talks about how when Jesus told him to cast their nets on the other side, he said, all I could do was look up and seeing the Master coming and telling me to cast it on the other side.
Yeah.
And so he got back home and called Sandy Knight, and he and Sandy wrote "Behold the Master Coming." Yeah. And man, that night was it was really. I mean, that was the third song out of the barrel. I think it was really early in the program, and it was over. I mean, it was just God moved, and it moved on him, and he loved that song. He loved Sandy's writing. He loved Squire's writing, of course, and everything, but it was just special. That song came from his trip to the Holy Land, and when he was on the Sea of Galilee, he got the idea of seeing the Lord coming to the fishermen and telling cast their nets on the other side. He's behold, it wasn't a song about casting your nets or
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
waters. He just saw the master coming for him.
Yeah.
For him to cast his nets on the other side. And so that's where that song came from. And he and Sandy sit down in his office one day and wrote that.
Well, I tell you, I've heard so many Kingsmen albums and Eldridge Fox features, and to me, that's one of his very best features.
It's a great song.
I love to hear that song. You know, tell everyone you know Jesus. I love that one. Look What's Waiting for Me from Better in Person. Love that one. So many great, but Behold the Master Cometh was one of my favorite Eldridge Fox features, and it was a thrill for me when I joined you guys in '96 that I got to sing with him on Beyond the Clouds, the song Beyond the Clouds. And I've told this numerous times on maybe 2 or 3 different podcasts, but one of my that's one of my favorite songs on that Beyond the Clouds album, because I think the blend that Chris and myself and your dad and Ray Dean had, that was such a good blend. And
that was the closest blend that Dad ever had, going back to the, like we talked last week, to the Just in Time record, which Beyond the Clouds is on.
Yes.
That's the closest blend to him and John and Ernie and Ray.
Wow.
He said, you know, he loves singing with Big Jim. It wasn't, you know, but that blend with John Parrott. Sorry, some folks might not know who John is. But, and Junior, who's Squire. That's Junior to me. Yeah. And Daddy and Ray. That blend you guys had on Beyond the Clouds was really close, buddy.
It
really
was great, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Well, you know, plus, you know, your dad, and I mentioned earlier, it wasn't just about the Kingsmen, but so many big, massive hits were produced by your dad. He produced for so many, you know, I think, you know, might have been Karen Peck's first record or something. When she first started. And so many I think the first probably 5 or 6, maybe 10 Gold City #1s were produced by your dad.
Yep. Dad produced, Lord mercy. He produced Heaven Bound's first #1 song after Canaan Lane.
Okay.
When they went with the Benson Company and later on, he produced their #1s. He produced Karen's first 2 #1s. He produced Gold City's first 11 #1 songs. Their 12th #1 song, if I'm not badly mistaken, was Gary Jones produced, and it was when Ready to Leave This World.
Yeah,
all them Sandy Night, John Saul, and all that stuff. Wow. That was all Dad. Wow. And Ivan was picking the music back then. He and Dad were just tight. You know, they were just
It goes to show you, and we've talked about this, and you talked about it last week, about the power of a song. It's about the material. It really is. You know, that the singers are going to come and go, and you got to find somebody. You know, if somebody leaves, you need to bring somebody in that can do the material. But it is seriously about the material. It's got to be strong material. And your dad, you know, I read a book about Dwayne Allen. You know, Dwayne Allen's. He calls himself a song man. You know, he's always about listening. You know, Dwayne Allen of the Oak Ridge Boys, for those who don't know, he's always looking for songs, for lyrics. And your dad had a gift for finding good songs, good lyric, you know, biblically based, great lyric songs. And that's a gift. That is a gift.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter to him about what the song. He always say this. His biggest thing is if you have to overproduce a song, it's not worth doing. Leave it on the shelf. So he always tried to stay where the writer wrote the song. Now, you'd have to add harmonies and you'd have to do different things.
Yes.
But he always had that feeling. And him being a songwriter himself, I think that had a lot to do with it. There's something that tweaked his heart when he wrote. So that artist or that author or that writer, whoever gave the song to us, had something come down and say, hey, this means something to me. So try to stay close to that. You know, Jim, Dad would bring, Lord of mercy, the songs we'd listen to, and you've been there. songs that we just, oh Lordy mercy, this bless her heart.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not songwriters are wonderful. I love songwriters.
Yeah.
My favorite person. I love singers. I love musicians, but the songwriters have a song place in my heart.
Yeah.
But there's some bad ones. Not writers, the songs. Writers are great. The songs are terrible.
Yeah.
But hundreds and hundreds of thousands of songs we listen to, and you bring them to the bus and see the ones that would mesh with the guy. I'll use us, mesh with the guys or whatever. And you know, he might hear it one way and Jim hear it another, and they get their heads together and say, "Oh yeah, that would," and then end up being somebody else's song.
Right.
But the only songs that Dad ever did, Jim never. Dad picked his song. And it wasn't because Dad said that. Jim had that same heart that we talked about. He said, "No, Fox knows what. Nobody sings a Foxy song like Foxy."
Right.
And so
that's right.
when he'd bring a song, "No, you sing it. Well, we'll get the harmony. You sing it." You know, it's like when Squire wrote "Hello, Mama." You know, he wrote that about a friend of his who'd gotten saved. And said, "Well, it had nothing to do with my dad or Squire," but boy, when Dad sung it, it was like, "Oh yeah," you know. That's just an example. You know.
Yep.
That was but when as far as other groups was concerned, cathedrals. I mean, people would call the office, and my desk, and when we were over on Merriman Avenue, my desk sat in one corner, and Dad's desk was on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
And people would call groups that he didn't even produce. Him and Rex Nealon were some of the close. You know, Rex is from Ashley area, and Rex called and say, "Hey, Foxy, I need this. I need this song. I need this." And they do the same with Rex. Hey, Pogo, I got a song for this guy or whatever. But there were so many people that called. And what kind of business model would that be in the world? For instance, but anything to make your own competition. I mean, who's going to go out and start producing? If I started Quartet tomorrow, I love y'all, but I doubt very seriously I'm going to spend a lot of time, and you know, I'll help them if they come to me. I'll be glad to do it. I have that servant's heart. I'd help people. I don't mean that bad, but as far as a businessman and a business model, why help all these other people? Why not, like you said, why not Kingsman it and the rest of you do whatever you want to do? Right.
But that wasn't him. That wasn't him. Well, before we move on, I know Josh has got a question for you, but we talked a second ago about songs. Okay. So I want to address this. One of my least favorite Kingsman songs ever.
Yeah.
What was the longest running #1 song in Southern gospel music history?
Yep.
And that's Excuses.
Why?
Okay.
Why? You know, #1 for 17 months, went off the charts to 3, and came back for 4
Yes. Well, I think the reason I never cared for the song was because when I was in a local group at the time when y'all put that out, okay, and we were working with different local groups in Southern Indiana, and every one of them sang Excuses, and every one of them tried to be the Kingsmen. So it was like one of those songs, man. It burnt me out so bad. So, but let's talk about Excuses because I had heard that once you guys put that out there, once the Kingsmen put that out there, all you guys were getting were novelty songs.
Exactly.
After Excuses.
When we did Excuses, it as my grandpa would tell you, put a lot of beans and taters on the table.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it liked to put us out of business.
Yeah.
We got no songs. I mean, we were, except for Junior. I mean, you know, we always did Junior song. We'd go to him first out of the barrel and find songs, you know, and there's certain, but man, it was a struggle. All we got in it. And that was one of the biggest reasons. Yeah. Not only was it a great song, but that was one of the biggest reasons for the production and the strings and the brass and all the backup singers on the Judgment record.
Really? Okay.
The Judgment is a tremendous song.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a better song live than it is cut.
Yes.
But we went into the studio because of Excuses. Lois Gale had written that song, and she did a lot of other great songs too.
Right.
We went in there with, hey, this has got to be overproduced. This has got to be. I mean, it's got to be. And we didn't ever do it live with the track. We did it one time with the track, and back then it was just with a cassette. So we're back there hitting a cassette, trying to play drums with a cassette in your ear, and it was. That's why we did it. One of the biggest reasons not only was it a great song,
yes,
and it was Shep's song. It was perfect for him.
Yeah.
But it was, all the way till then, all we get was just, it was rough. It was plowing, hard to find material. And that song itself, and I know we're talking about excuses, but the Judgment opened our catalog back open again to where we started getting these meaty songs again, and these good sing-along songs, and these good openers, and these, we always pick songs from the heart. Excuses was funny, and if you sit down and you listen to it, it had a message.
It does. It absolutely does.
Lord of mercy, Lord of mercy. I never did I don't know until Big Jim sit down. I don't ever remember doing many programs without it. But easy to play. But it had a message.
It did.
And so when you're picking songs, even with excuses, it had, and I think that's why More Excuses on the Alabama Live album didn't do as well, because it was more geared to funny. It didn't have the same. It wasn't. Excuses was not biblical.
Right.
Let's don't go there. I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying it had a message, though.
It did.
What we're out here to do is not. We don't. There was excuses. The reason you don't go to church. Well, I got this excuse. So, but you're as many nice beans and taters I had and cornbread. Let me tell you, it was plowing deep, trying to find good songs for a long time.
Well, I'll mention this too, since you was there, Greg, and since along that same line, since Bryan brought it up, the Game of Life song. That's one of them when I heard it, I was like, but one of them I kind of skipped. But talk a little bit about that too. I know it's mainly a recitation song, but was that something that Jim he said he wanted to do, or is that something that y'all just heard all y'all together?
That was one of the few songs that the record company said we needed to do.
Gotcha.
And they wanted it produced. Yeah. They knew Hamill was a huge baseball fan. He loved the Atlanta Braves. Yeah. And he he's great with the recitation. Yeah. And there've been great recitations over the year by a lot of different bass singers, but nobody does the apple tree like Big Jim did the apple tree. Yeah. And so they knew he could pull it off. Yeah. But Lord of mercy. There's another one. We signed 1,500.
That's true.
1,500 baseball center radio stations, Yeah. And I don't know. It may have made top five. That record, man, there's some good songs on that record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's Arthur's first record with us.
Yes.
And man, that's got Empty Vessel on it.
Yes.
A studio record, not his live album. In Missouri was his first record.
Better in person. Yeah.
Better in person. But man, and him and Dad on Are You Ready for the Rapture? Man, there's some great songs on that. There's some good songs. But Game of Life was really geared by our record company. They really they had the idea, and we went to here again. It was overproduced, but again, it was something to get us away from excuses.
True.
That all fell before the Judgment. It was like, we got to do something. We've got to get some material in here.
Oh, well, I'll ask you this too, Greg. Was there a moment that convinced your dad that this was y'all were doing the right thing, that this is the path that the Kingsmen are on? In a particular moment, he just stood back and was like, I think we got it. We're doing the right thing.
Yeah, probably. He used to talk about, there was a ton of fun days. Mm-hmm. And see, Dad, when he first started, he was just only part of the group. He didn't own the whole group or nothing like that. But that just came along as a guy would step back. Raymond, he'd step back. course, Reese McKinney, he passed away, and they brought Calvin in. But as men would step back, Dad would take on their part, or they'd split it up.
Okay.
And so when Frank Cutshaw decided to step down and not go on the road anymore, Dad became and that was probably 69, late 68, 69, something like that. But again, those guys are always, those are very important people to him and me and all the guys. I mean, man, Lord mercy, we could talk about that stuff for days, but that's when the Ton of Fun, he hired Big Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time it was Big Jim, Jerry Red, who sang with Spear Family, who sang with who's who of everybody. What a tenor singer he was.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Red, Daddy, Big Jim, and a guy by the name of Jim McAllister, who sang bass.
Yeah.
And he was a great bass singer, big old voice, sung on our Asheville video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wrong. He thought that's who Big Jim thought our bass singer was when he came.
Wow. Okay.
There's a funny story with that later. I can tell you all about that. But wasn't long after that, Red decided he was going to go back to Alabama and teach and different things. And John Parrott came in, and the Ton of Fun with Daddy. Well, John Parrott, Big Jim, my dad, Ray, and then Charles Abbey and Big Mac. Or not back, but John Broom playing bass.
Okay.
And Leonard Hollifield playing guitar. This is before Mac came back with us. They were in Ivor, South Carolina, singing at a revival. And unbeknownst to all of them, they were just doing they did a great job, and the preacher, everything was great. And Dad turned around and looked, and every one of the fellows were in the altar.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, he didn't question that.
Right.
He said, I don't know why they were in the altar. I don't know if they were making things right or praying for somebody else. He said, but I turned around, son.
Yeah.
And every man was in the altar. And I knew right then we were going in the right direction.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that was in Ivor, South Carolina. That was really the Ton of Fun, minus Big Jim McCauley, because he came right after that. And John started playing drums. But that's when they were singing, man, they were doing full-time work, with Frank and Jerry and Ray Talley and all those guys. They all had jobs and stuff, but they were doing full-time dates. I mean, they would be gone Thursday and get home Monday morning, go to work and all.
Wow.
He said in Ivor, South Carolina, he turned around and looked, and every one of the guys was in the altar.
Wow.
He said, I don't know. He said, son, I don't know what they were praying about. I don't know if I don't have any idea. I didn't go down and ask him.
Yeah.
And he said, but I knew right then I was on the right. We were moving in the right direction. He didn't say I was. He said we were.
We were
going in the right direction, Yeah. And then shortly after that, it started a Ton of Fun.
Yeah.
Wow.
Goodness.
I love to hear things like that because, so many people following Southern gospel groups and following not just the Kingsmen, but following Southern gospel groups. They see the hour and a half or whatever on the platform, and they don't see the other hours. And knowing the people you've got on the platform with you have a relationship with Jesus.
Right.
That's the most important thing. They got to be talented. They need to be talented. They need to be they need to be well versed in what they do, whether it be a singer, musician. But man, to know they've got things right with the Lord, or they're trying. They're trying.
Yeah, they're working.
None of us has all got.
Right.
None of us got it right.
That's like Gary said. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were praying about, or if there's even praying. He said, I don't know. When I looked around, and saw every man in the altar. We were going down the right path.
Yes.
And like you said, we all make mistakes. We're all
Yes.
And that's why we're servants. God didn't make us. He didn't make us like Him. He didn't make us righteous. He made us servants to serve Him first.
Yes. Yeah.
And then our family, and then everything just falls right. And it's a breeze. Serving the Lord is so easy if people would just do it. I mean, you have your times. You're gonna have
Absolutely.
battles. But man, once you accept him and once you move to that, all that's just it's already down the river.
Yeah,
know?
right.
Yes, that's right.
And the best part of knowing that is that, and Dad told me this. He said, "Son, no matter what you do, just remember that when you went to the altar out there, it was me and Squire. That day, from that day, he knew he was going to the altar before I knew it.
Yeah.
He knew us before
Yeah.
when we come out of the womb. He put us in the womb.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so, man, the sooner I tell my children, and Dad used to tell us about being servants, but I tell my children and I tell my grandchildren, the sooner you figure out life is about moments and not things, your life is going to be so much better.
Yeah, you're right.
Nothing wrong with having things. Nothing wrong with working hard and having things and being, doing this and whatever and giving, but
Yes.
It's those moments that you remember. It's not the thing.
Amen. That's so true. That's so true.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yep. Greg, if you don't mind, we'll wrap it up. If you got a good, funny road story about your dad, about Eldridge, yeah. Yeah, if you got one that you can share,
I got tons of my share. I mean,
and real quick, did we mention that you're wearing one of your daddy's hats right now?
Oh yeah. Well, no, I didn't. I am. I wear ball caps. I don't wear these Tam O'Shanter kind of hats very often. If I do, I wear them backwards.
Yeah.
And
okay.
My buddy William Lee Golden taught me how to do that. You talking about Dwayne Allen earlier? Dwayne, man, through my daddy's illness. And then later on, and I talk to Dwayne quite often, and we talk about being songmen, and he loves my Fox. He'll tell you Eldridge Fox is one of his best buddies, and this a lot of it had to do with the music. But this belonged to my dad, one of his hats, and you said we was going to do a little stuff on him. I could wear this one. I could wear this one,
Yeah.
Come on now. I mean, that is OG full time right there.
That's it.
Like that. Look at that. Look at that.
Legendary.
No. But
that is a full time hat there.
All right.
That's a silver fox.
Silver fox.
It was shot up in the Yukon. Had it taxidermied as a hat, but it's my dad. I got all his hats, and I wear them, play golf sometimes. Most of the time, I really don't wear them much because these are his. I have my times. I miss him every day. Folks, you lost your dad. And, it's just your brother, and I lost my brother. There's people, I think God sends, like Squire said, that new grace. It's what happens, but I miss him every day. There's not a day goes by that Pop don't come, and if it's something funny. Back to funny stories, Lord of mercy. There's funny ones. I'm sure. I don't know if John Parrick told you, but we were singing out. I wasn't singing yet. One of them days where Dad had double booked somebody, and hey, baby, my dogs come see me. They were singing out to Bryson City, and Jim, and I think Bruno and somebody else had gone somewhere to sing, and Macaulay had gone somewhere to sing, and it was Daddy playing piano and singing. Now, sorry about that, gentlemen.
That's fine.
That's my oldest Golden. I named him after my grandpa.
That's all right.
My grandpa's name was Denver, and so I wanted to name him Denver, and I thought that's a terrible dog name. Then I realized my grandpa had a twin brother. His name was Winterford, and they called him Wink and Dink. So that's how my oldest Golden got his name, Dink. But that was Daddy and Parrick and Ray. No, Calvin Rudman was singing bass. They had got Calvin to come over from Asheville. And they're at Bryson City, and Daddy come off the stage or come off the bus, that scenic cruiser, and had forgot his toupee. And there was I've got the picture. There was somebody right back at the old Singing in the Smokies. You come in and there was this boarded up fence like thing. They had a concession.
Yeah, I remember that.
So you got to come in. You didn't see anybody, but you came in the side. And it's right in front of the concession, so the people couldn't see you. So, but he's already off the bus, and he realized, see, my daddy didn't go anywhere without his hat or a toupee, which
Right.
between him and Jake and some of the others, they're the worst in the world, and I love them to death. But the Daddy had gotten off the bus and he was walking through, and one of the Inspiration's wife, it was chilly. It was the spring. It was this fall color festival, and they had in September out there, and it was chilly. And one of the Inspiration's wife had a pink toboggan, and Daddy said, "I need to borrow that." And they did the whole set, and Daddy on stage in that pink toboggan. And
my word!
Yeah, the Daddy wearing the pink. He never went. I'm telling you, buddy. The fellas will tell you, he never. Bryan can tell you, he saw him a lot without his hair, but you didn't see him out in public without it. He either had a ball cap or one of these on, or that toupee. And back when toupees were the thing, he had a great one. He'd leave the barber, and it would look so good. They tied it into his hair, and it looked so nice. And it wasn't a week later. It was like, peel it off, throw the toupee on. A squirrel up on top of his head. And then we did a record. In fact, it wasn't. I believe it's Squire's first record with us. It was on a budget record. It's called The Old and New. Kingsmen sing Old and New. I think that's what it's on. I'm pretty sure it might have been Golden Gospel. I don't know exactly, but the line in the song is, "The pleasures of this world turned on me."
Yes. I remember this story. Go ahead.
And so we cut the album up at Queen City Studios in Cincinnati, Ohio. Well, back then, you go in, you do a record in one day, and they have it out in 3 days pressed, and you got it ready for the next weekend. So we was going to Indianapolis for the big Indianapolis singing, the Lord Orel singing. Well, we get the record back, and even till we got back home, we put it back on the record and went through the mix, went through the master and everything. And Dad says, "The pleasures of this world turn me on." And it's still there to this day.
It's still there.
Still there.
Yeah. He was a funny guy. He was serious, and he was a lot of things, but he's fun. One day we had a radio DJ in Asheville, and he called Dad and said, "This Juanita's birthday. Juanita's my mother."
Yeah.
Dad said, "This Juanita's birthday. Do anything, play her something on the radio." It was WWNC radio. Scotty Roadrunner was and he said, "Play her anything you want to. Just tell her I love her and happy anniversary." So he played "Wasted Years."
No.
Boy, my mom was like, "Oh, really, Eldridge? Thank you." Of course, him and the radio DJ had a little. I can't believe you played that song.
That is
that big old baritone voice of his, "Wasted Years." Him and Mother's anniversary, yeah. I think it's fun. And he loved the guys. He just loved being with the boys. He's good. Even after he didn't travel with us much, if he'd go on the bus, Bryan, bless his heart, he didn't get to come see some of that because Dad had a stroke in '96. But man, he'd get on that bus and go and just sit around and play. Didn't care if he sung or not. He just wanted to be part of the guys, and that's Dad.
Well, when I got on the Kingsman bus in June of '96, and he you said he had his stroke in November.
Yep.
But he rode several weeks while I was there, and he was so encouraging to me, and I will say publicly, I want to thank you and your dad for taking such good care of me and my family. You guys. I remember going into your dad's office one time. I had my son Jordan with me, and he was such a little boy. And he said, "Come back here in my office." And I went back there, and I took Jordan back there. And I don't know how much change he had, but I think he gave Jordan $20 or $25 or $26 worth of change. We filled up that little boy's pockets and my pockets too. And as soon as we got done, as soon as we left the Kingsman office, we went to an arcade and we played video games, and I bought him a hot dog or something, just on change that, your dad had given him. And I want to publicly thank you for the years I spent. And you were at the helm with the Kingsmen, you and your dad, and you always took such good care of me and my family, and I'll be forever in debt for that. I
Well,
appreciate that.
you're us, buddy. And I don't know if they still say it or still do it, but we come up a long time ago. Once you're a Kingsman, you're always a Kingsman, and that goes.
Yeah,
I hope,
yeah.
but it still goes. I don't know. I think the fellas are
believe it
doing
does.
a good job.
They do. They are.
Old Ray, bless his heart. I think he's hanging right in there and doing a good job. Good boys. I love them all. Pull for them. Pray for them. They're the Kingsmen Quartet now, and they're
Right.
growing great. And like but when I sit down, wasn't because of me, but it was Dad. My heart was gone. I treasure the 6 years that I got to spend with my dad.
Yeah.
And you guys out there on the road with me not there, man, I never worried about a thing, never worried about nothing. Y'all just did it and went on without me. And then later on, Brandon came in and played some drums for me, and that was so good. And I got to go to some concerts, but man, you guys were stalwarts, and you were right there, and you had my back, and I'll never forget that. But
Let me share a funny Eldridge Fox story real quick.
Okay.
It really wasn't funny, but it really
probably was.
Well, we were cutting a budget record, and your dad had a stroke, and we were cutting the song "The Eastern Gate," and I'll never forget. We're in the studio, and your dad by this time was in a wheelchair. And we were cutting, I don't know, we cut 3 or 4 songs already that day, and they wheeled your dad into the control room. Okay. So we're doing the Eastern Gate, and we start singing the chorus. I will meet you in the morning. And he stopped everything down. I couldn't tell what was going on, but he turned his head, and he was saying something to Jeff Collins and the other guys in the studio. And we stopped. And so Jeff Collins hits the talk back button, said, Foxy said, somebody said, I'll meet you in the morning. Who was
meet you? Yeah.
Yeah, it was meet. I said meet you instead of meet. And he said, who was it? He said, who was it? And I said, well, it wasn't me. Parker said, it wasn't me. And I think it was Chris Collins still. And Chris said, well, it wasn't me. And so they played it back, and guess who it was? It was me. I said, he said, Foxy said, it's I'll meet you in the morning, not I'll meet you in the morning.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, even though he'd had this major stroke, and he could still hear that. The producer in him could still hear that.
Oh, yeah. That was his.
He wasn't going to let that slide. He wasn't going to let that slide.
No.
I had to
sing them like you say them, and
yes, sir.
You sing them like you say them, and you have to have the diction, boys. You can't. When you're writing your autograph, make sure they can read it. It's like
that's true.
The man had the most beautiful penmanship. I mean,
how
about some of the things he did with other groups. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize he lived in Jake's Hess basement and wrote all the staff of Faith Publishing songbooks.
Wow.
Back in those days. He wrote all the music notes.
Hand wrote
it.
Yes.
And then hand wrote all the shape notes, because they had both in those Faith Publishing books.
Wow.
And those old red, awesome. And it's he was a stickler when it comes to it. Hey, get to that pitch. Don't slide there, son. You get there.
That's right.
Oh, you're singing solo. You do anything you want to do. If you're going to sing with a quartet, you get to that pitch.
When
you got 4 other people got to get there too.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I'll never forget that. He said, Fox said, somebody said, I'll meet you. It was me. And I could have sworn it wasn't me, but it was me. He heard that. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Greg, we appreciate you again doing this. Joining us in this episode of Behind the Crown podcast, sharing about your dad, the legendary Eldridge Fox. I hated I didn't get to meet him. I was younger, but hopefully one day in heaven.
Oh, you can bet on it.
See him, yeah.
I can promise you.
Spend eternity
there at the gate, and he'll be telling you.
He'll be spend eternity if you don't mind talking about Kingsman stuff. Let's remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he will. He'll be talking about his boys, and I'm telling you, I told you last week. I tell you again, you boys it's an honor to be here. It's anything I can ever do for you, whatever.
Thank you.
Some of the old guys, if you don't have phone number, man, get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Man, I hate you didn't get Squire. Boy, doggone it.
Yeah, no, me too.
You know,
me too.
there's so many guys and these guys, but they all, it's just, it's a brotherhood. It's not something we just say. It was a real thing. And that all come from Dad.
Yeah.
It all come from Dad, you know.
Yep.
So
Man.
I was just honored to be a part of it. And you guys keep plowing deep. Keep plowing deep.
We appreciate you joining us, Foxy.
Yes.
We really do.
And I want to say I appreciate everybody that likes and follows our Facebook page, but a special shout out to Miss Juanita Fox, Mr. Eldridge's widow, and Greg's mama. I appreciate that. I seen that one morning on the Facebook page. I said, that's too cool. Miss Juanita Fox likes and follows Behind the Crown podcast. That's neat. And hopefully she'll be able to watch these 2 videos and share some memories. Yeah.
I tell you what, the minute she sees it come on, she'll say, I saw you, Daddy, or I saw that. Brian's on TV. She watches it on her phone or
yeah.
I got her an iPhone, so we're getting to where bless her heart, she just don't like, as my grandpa say, he don't like that newfangled machinery. But she got to where she loved it when I sent her a picture of my coons that I called.
Yeah.
I sent her some picture of some green beans that we got putting up and but that's the first thing. Hey, Brian and that boy, I think that boy's from Georgia. I said, yes, man, he's from Tifton, Georgia. He seems like a good boy. I said, Mom,
that's awesome.
He's a fine young man.
That's awesome.
She loves it, and it's an honor. You know, she's 86 now, and still in pretty good health.
Good.
But she misses Pop. She misses Dad.
Yeah.
So anything comes across about him, you know, that's the first thing my phone ring. Your daddy's singing on this. I saw your daddy here, and I said, yeah, Mom, I know.
Yeah.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, everybody.
Hey there, buddy.
That's the old man there.
Don't you call him old man.
He said, don't call you old.
How you doing?
Take up for me. There you go.
He's
All righty.
Yeah, take up for me.
That's right, son.
We will. We'll take up for you.
Hey, Brian, you doing all right?
Doing well. Good to see you.
Oh, goodness. Everybody, we appreciate y'all listening to this great episode featuring Mr. Eldridge Fox with his son, Greg Fox, on Behind the Crown podcast. Be sure to listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and also on YouTube. And be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Behind the Crown podcast. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, everyone.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Behind the Crown podcast with your hosts, Bryan Hutson and Josh Griffin. If you would, please like, rate, and share this episode. Join us again for another episode of the Behind the Crown podcast.